Welcome to InGeneral, the Jurassic Outpost podcast, episode 159. My name is Jack. I'm joined with Alex, Jaden, and a very special guest, Luke Sparke, director of Primitive War. Bring Him to Me, the Occupation films, and a series of other films. How you doing, Luke?
I'm good. How are you guys?
All good. Jaden we're all excited, but Jaden's been very excited. He set this up with you as a fellow Australian. I think he's very keen for this one.
Yeah, I tried going to the Gold Coast Supernova thing where you were at because I got invited as a creator to Supernova Sydney. So that was before I linked up with you and stuff like that. And I was trying to get Supernova to is Luke Sparks gonna be at the Sydney show? Blah blah, and they weren't getting back to me. I was like, oh damn. So yeah, it kind of all worked out. So it's good.
Well, they were trying to get me, and I love Supernova. I do it a lot. But we had our sights set on something bigger around the June July thing, so we're kind of holding out for that.
What is that?
Well, it turned out it was announced. It was announced Friday, Saturday, that the film got into San Diego Comic Con. So we were kind of, we're an independent film, so we can't be splashing around travel money to here and there. And even though it's just Sydney, to do that stuff, where as a production house, it takes time, effort, and that. And not that I don't love Supernova Sydney, but San Diego was a 10-20% chance, and we got it. So that's great.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome.
That's definitely a no-brainer.
Yeah. I haven't absolutely 100% confirmed, but the word is that we're the first Australian, not even independent film, Australian film to land either Ballroom 20 or Hall H, like one of the major halls at San Diego Comic Con. So that's kind of cool to be the first Australian film to ever be in one of those panels. So that's great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right, let's talk about the film, because I read Primitive War years ago when it first came out. It came out, 2015, feels like, 2016, something like that. Loved the book. Brutally violent. It's everything I wanted in Jurassic kind of thing. But how did this all come to be for you?
Yeah. Sometimes, things go to plan. Sometimes things just happen. So this particular thing I was after Occupation Rainfall. I was doing a TV series. It got cut short because of COVID lockdowns, unfortunately, and everything was going awry back in 2021, 2020, whatever you want to say, in that crazy time period that we were in the world.
Yeah.
And when that kind of had to halt, which I will pick up later, but when they had to halt, I was quickly scrambling around for the next project, and I wanted to pitch to my team and my people, have a bunch of on the board, and I was just scrolling through the internet or Facebook or one of the social medias, and I saw the image of the Primitive War comic cover, and it was a soldier in Vietnam with a face mask fighting a Utah raptor jumping on him, and my immediately childhood dreams was that's exactly what I used to play with my GI Joes and Jurassic Park figures. So what is this? What is this IP? And I ordered the book and I read it, and I thought it was really good. And I pitched it to Ethan, the author, and I think he was always I've always pictured it being a movie, and I don't want to speak for him, but obviously things worked out. And I got around to starting to adapt it. So that's how it was, just literally just by chance on the internet.
That's
so crazy.
The power of the internet.
The power of the internet. I would love to have some amazing story where it was some transcendent thing, but it was literally just. But it takes the the nous, the willpower, the idea to go, hey, let's connect this to. Because I'm sure I could have scrolled past and gone, that's cool, and just kept scrolling.
Kept going,
it's just something just triggered in my mind of seeing that image, because as a kid I did play with my Jurassic Park T-Rexes and my GI Joes back in '93 and '94, and have these worlds, So I'm sort of, as a filmmaker, I grew up watching all the '80s films into the '90s. Obviously, Jurassic Park, humongous, humongous, whatever you want to say. I can't even have the words because it's just such a big imprint on my life. So it's just one of those things.
And sort of differences from the novel. Obviously, you can't translate that novel directly, but how different would you say the film is, and how much have you taken from that novel?
That's a good question. And I know that's one that Ethan was always asking me about as I was adapting it before he read the script. And he only
Yeah,
read, and again, I don't want to speak for Ethan, but he
sure.
only read the script when he arrived in Australia to be here for the filming. I
Okay.
hadn't actually sent it to him beforehand. Um, and I think his words were, a lot of people ask me, is it going to be like Jurassic World adaptation, Jurassic Park adaptation? Sorry. You know how obviously the book for Jurassic Park is different to
Hmm.
the movie in certain respects,
Yeah, yeah.
or the Lost World adaptation, which again people might know that the book for Lost World is obviously very different to the movie as well. And he said, I think I can say it's neither. It's actually probably quite a very accurate adaptation. So I was very happy to hear those words from the author, because I did try to keep the essence. I did try to keep, scenes. I tried to keep it as close as I could, given the 2 hour extra, a little bit of 2 hour runtime
Yeah.
that movies kind of go for these days. I tried to keep it very, very, to the book and not try to, go off too much. I hate it myself as a fan when people get book adaptations or game adaptations, and suddenly they say, "Yeah, that's cool, but I want to make it mine. I want to do
Yeah,
something
yeah.
with me." And then all the audience is like, "Well, why didn't you just make that yourself and not call it the name of the book or the game that you bought?" And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
happened to me as a fan, so I'm very conscious of that as a fan. So yeah, that was one thing I was very, very, clear on. But when I read the book, I immediately, especially the first half, I immediately could see in my mind's eye how I would adapt it to the screen,
Hmm.
which was obviously easy, rather than an easy sell, rather than me trying to go, oh my god, how am I going to do this? I could just see it, which scenes I would take and which scenes I could leave, and how I could make it a 2 hour sort of adventure run through the jungle
Yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's an incredibly visual book. It's brutal from memory. Like I said, I read it when it first came out, but um, Ethan's a Jurassic fan, and we did this event years and years ago. 2016 was it, Alex, in Philadelphia?
17.
2017,
Mm.
and I remember Ethan was handing out chapters of the book there, and it was the front cover of that book with the skeleton, the remains.
Right. Mm.
Just that was, never judge a book by its cover, but that grabbed me,
Mm.
and that was enough for me to want to read the whole thing. It's such a fantastic piece, and obviously there's Jurassic inspirations there. But um, given those Jurassic inspirations, have you worked that into the movie at all? Was Jurassic a big inspiration with making Primitive War for you?
I mean, look, obviously, yes, is the short answer in terms of dinosaur movies. Steven Spielberg,
Yeah,
Michael
yeah.
Crichton. Spielberg's one of my idols. I haven't worked with him, but I worked for him before I became a director. I used to do costume departments. If
Hmm.
anyone looks me up on IMDb, you can see my list. So I worked on The Pacific, which is the sequel to Band of Brothers.
Oh, great series,
Um,
great series.
yeah, yeah. So I worked on that when I was back before I became a director. I was in the costume department of that show with all the Marines and that, and I got to see Mr. Spielberg once, just on a video call, and I was like way like in the back. But even just working for him, but actually on that show, Joe Mazzello, who plays
Yeah.
Tim it was the lead of that show. And I was sitting there having lunch with him one day, and I'm like, "Look, Spielberg's my idol. I'd love to say, I work for him now." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, you can say that. You can say you work for him because we're here under the Spielberg movie." Um, so obviously a big influence, but then lots of trepidation of how not to just do it again or do just Jurassic Park. You know what I mean? Like if we're gonna do Primitive War, the initial reaction to me was like, if we're gonna do it, we got to be different. We got to use the differences of the book, which was obviously the violence,
Yeah.
the gore, without being like straight up horror film. Yeah, I didn't want to make Terrifier 3 with dinosaurs, for example. I, I wanted to make add our own thing where it is Jurassic mashed with Platoon, mashed with sort of aliens with that bit of horror aspect on there as well. So that was kind of like my three go-to films. It was like Apocalypse Now, for some of
Mm.
the psychological stuff in the book.
Yeah,
But yeah,
for sure.
definitely Platoon mashed with Jurassic, mashed with aliens was my sort of pitch to people.
Awesome. Right, I'll take that. That
Yeah, and
sounds great.
obviously James Cameron, there's that famous story. Obviously, that he was trying to get the rights to the book
Yeah.
of Jurassic Park, and he wanted to make it, different and aliens esque. So I feel like now it's all come back around, and maybe I get to have a crack at doing that.
Yeah, for sure. That's the way to go. And I'm sort of jumping around here, but you filmed this
That's okay.
movie entirely in Australia, right?
Yeah, yeah. Australia is a very good stand-in for these sort of movies. They film obviously the Pacific out here for Guadalcanal and for all those
Yeah.
different World War II shows. So yeah, for me, living on the Gold Coast, which is and then down from where we filmed all those big Hollywood films, they use it a lot. Godzilla,
Yeah, Godzilla's there
being
now in Brisbane.
yeah, being like literally living 15 minutes away from those locations, it just again made sense for our production to utilize everything there.
Yeah, for sure. How long was the filming?
Well, it was very crazy because when we're not, like I shopped this movie around Hollywood when I wrote it because
Right.
the people around me, this is before I had a fantastic management team that I do now, and all these different doors are opening. But back then it was just me. And I shopped it around, and a lot of people said, "You're not Steven Spielberg. You can't make dinosaurs. Only he makes dinosaurs." Which I understand the sentiment coming from the Hollywood system, but also it doesn't make any sense at all with that
No,
comment
no.
because it's like there's no trademark on dinosaurs for Jurassic Park. It's like he makes it and no one else. So a lot of people are just like, how can you do this? So eventually, I came back from one of my other films, Bring Him to Me, a premiere I did in LA, and I just came back and said to the guys, let's just do it ourselves. So it's all, there's no studio backing, there's no government backing. It was just a bunch of passionate filmmakers making this movie. So when I did the script, when I did the budget originally to pitch it, it was a lot bigger because you're trying to get a studio involved. You know what I mean? And that was like 12 weeks or 13 weeks or enough time to spend to do it. You know what I mean? To get the minutia out of it. And then when we did it ourselves, we had to condense everything. So I only had, instead of having 10 weeks pre-production, I had 3.5, and instead of having like 18 weeks to shoot it, I had like 6.
Wow.
So
Shoot.
um, that's how that had to cram and squeeze. So that was very interesting to go through that.
Yeah,
And
6 weeks
the,
is crazy.
and yeah, I mean, 4 weeks for pre is 3.5, or 4 weeks for pre was kind of crazy. That's the crazy part, because pre is where you have to obviously set everything up. And if it's a hard pre, it's usually a great shoot because you've gone through the hard yards of like getting it all out there. And
Yeah.
if it's a good pre, it's usually a bad shoot because it's kind of just breeze through pre and be like, oh, it's all great. And then day one is like just collapses around you. So the hard part for me was I came back, I sort of announced it internally with the cast, and I was casting, and we were like building sets, and we were doing things within that 3.5 weeks of pre. And then out of nowhere, Universal announces they're making another Jurassic Park movie. So like it was not on the cards at all when I just decided to like do it. And we're already kind of, even though we're already a couple weeks in, we were committed enough where I was like, well, we can't let that, sort of worry us. And then they're like July 2nd, and I was like, oh well, we'll work around that. But now it's all kind of around the same time period. But I think it's going to work out.
Yeah, yeah. Have you caught Rebirth yet?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. And where would you place that movie? Did you enjoy it?
I don't know. I've said to myself I don't want to comment on Rebirth because I don't want to come across either way. Like I love
I'm with you.
Jurassic Park. I love the Jurassic movies. You know what I mean? Like so, I don't really want to comment either way because I don't want to come across either way, either where I like it or I hate it, and then it goes out there publicly. Like I love all the Jurassic movies.
I'm with you.
I'll just
Yeah.
leave it as that. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I saw the first Jurassic World like maybe 7, 8 times in cinemas. Like, I really, really
Yeah.
enjoyed that movie. Even though now you can look back and I can go, oh, yeah, that it's a bit here and it's a bit there, and some of the scenes, some of the characters, whatever you want to dissect it, as people do on the internet. But just for me, I just really enjoyed just watching it. I think it's a great watch. Yeah, and of course all the originals, huge fan. But I don't want to get into the rebirth thing right now. Maybe ask me a year later once my film's out. And
Yeah, yeah.
it feels so weird to have a dinosaur movie coming off the back of it, right? It feels so weird to have my trailer in front of Jurassic World in the USA.
Yeah, so
So
tell us about
it's
that. That happened, right? That was, it was playing. Your
that
trailer
happened.
was
It
playing,
happened. It
and
happened. It was under the radar. It wasn't announced. We just did it. It
that's
was a
amazing.
very yeah, it is crazy to have, from a filmmaker who's just independent, to have starting to have these large conversations about trailers and release, and you have to pinch yourself when you get off the phone, because I always, I'm always a guy that remembers where I am with the feet on the ground type, on the thing. So I get off the phone and I pinch myself to go, 10 years ago, it was Luke Sparke saying, I want to be in Hollywood and I want to do these things and I want a publicist and I want this. And now I'm kind of getting it, but because everything's happening so fast, you kind of sometimes don't think about it. But I always
Yeah.
remember to think about it. So how that happened? Yeah, that's just part of the deal that I made, because we're an independent film, and it's my seventh or eighth film. It's the seventh film now. I know my way around deals and what not to do. Basically, like, failure is obviously a huge lesson in life. It's probably the best lesson, rather than success, is failure. Not to say I failed, but some of the films I've made are, successful, some not so successful, and you learn from those experiences. So I really wanted to set this film up, because once I shot it, even the euphoric feel on the set of this movie. Sometimes you're on a film set and you look around at people and you go, don't know about this movie. It's going to be maybe pretty bad. You can feel it sometimes. And sometimes it turns out you go, wow, it actually was better than I thought. Or sometimes you watch and you go, yep, I thought it was, and it was bad. Um, and sometimes, you just have this feeling like, hey, I think we're onto something. I think this could be a pretty good movie. And this is not just my movies. This is me working as costume in other movies throughout my career. You have that feeling. And a lot of feeling on this crew and on this set was like, I think this could be something. I think this could be cool. So once I got into the edit and I knew what I kind of was looking at and what we had and what we shot, I definitely wanted to make sure we didn't just sell it to like the first person that comes knocking and just get some VOD release in America, because and not knocking that system. There's obviously money to be made in that system in America. But there's definitely a feeling within the independent market that it's just not viable anymore, and it's just not, returning to filmmakers. I could go on forever and on all that part.
Sure,
And we're on a Jurassic Park podcast, so I don't want to feel like I'm talking about producing films in America. But there's a whole thing, and I just didn't want to go down that road. So I made some very, I think, smart moves early on to position it into a thing. That's why we released our teaser trailer. There was this big conjecture with us of like, do we do the trailer? Do we not do the trailer? And I decided to do it because I thought we had something, and obviously that went really gangbusters online. That teaser trailer, and then from there I suddenly had all these offers from Hollywood, including people that passed on it originally, came back to me, and I was like, "Well, you passed on it, so like I'm kind of going this way now," which is kind of vindicating to say.
Yeah, for sure.
So we positioned it, and we got this deal that I think is really good, and it's going to be announced this week. More is going to be announced this week, so I don't want to say too much now. Maybe by the time this comes out, it'll be out there, so go look it up. But I got this good deal, and part of the deal was that AMC theaters and Regal and a bunch of other large cinemas were like, we'll show the trailer ahead of the summer blockbusters if you release it this particular date, which is an August date. I don't know. I don't think it's been announced yet officially, even though it's on the trailers in America.
Oh, right. Yeah, I
And
was going to ask you about release date, because all I know
yeah,
is
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of
Again, that's going to
2025,
get
right?
announced this week officially, even though it's kind of already out there a little bit. If you can look up Fandango and look up all those sites, you probably already know.
Oh, great. Yeah,
Um,
okay.
but yeah, part of that was, if you can release it this date, we'll give you all this. And part of me was like, well, our date for delivery was kind of a little later. So we had to condense all that up because I thought the deal was too good to pass up. So part of that deal was that we got to release it in front of Jurassic World, which for me was like the perfect marketing tool.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the right audience as well. It's
Yeah,
grabbing.
kind of. Not
Yeah.
only it's like the people that go to pay to see movies, because you could pay millions of dollars for a bus stop, campaign ad, or a shopping center ad, or a billboard, but you could have someone sitting. I always say, my analogy is, you could have someone sitting at a bus stop on their phone, look at the poster, and go, "I hate movies," and go back to their thing. So it's like, why are you paying for the bus stop? But having people in a cinema, and watching a movie who are paying to see that movie is obviously the audience you want to capture in this day and age.
Yeah.
It's a smart
So
bet.
yeah. So for me that was great, and to have it sort of under the radar. There was questions whether we should announce it before, like last week beforehand. And I said, you know what? It was actually me. I said, you know what? I think we just let it go out there and just let people go, hey, I saw this trailer, and then
Yeah.
tweet and ask
Sort of like
and
word of
everything
mouth kind
about
of
it.
thing.
Yeah, like a word of mouth thing. So that was kind of cool. that's my
was
big
funny because
story. That's my big story to get back about that trailer thing. Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
no, that's honestly congrats on that because that's such a huge thing. When I saw people posting that the trailer was playing in front of Rebirth, I was like, oh, they've done it. They've done it.
Yeah, yeah, we got like so much more traction across social media since then. People who haven't seen it, which is what we wanted, right? People who haven't seen the trailer at all were like, "Hey, what's this?" So that's good, and it's playing in front of Superman in America as well. So there's another good weekend, and it'll play in front of Fantastic Four. So
oh hell yeah,
Oh, so you got the big
yeah,
July.
you
You got
got
all
yeah,
a
this.
small
I got the big
blockbuster.
July, which is again
Yeah,
a massive reason why I took this particular deal.
Yeah, fantastic. So you in the trailer, obviously, we see a fantastic set that was built right for the movie. The whole camp and that whole
Yeah,
area.
yeah. That's like the early part of the book. If anyone's read the book out there, yeah, it's an early part of the book where they do a tactical mission in a POW type camp in Vietnam, and yeah,
Yeah,
we built all that along with a bunch of other stuff which hasn't been revealed in the trailers. But that one definitely was great. We shot that later on in the shoot. With all the different hats I wear, I'm the production designer of this movie as well. So it was a real, a huge thing on my shoulders to direct the film and also be production designer of this massive film. I've done production design on some smaller films, but not take on something like this. But I think it's worked out pretty well. I think everyone's been impressed with the sets and that. So yeah, that was a really cool, very hard week, but very very cool week to shoot.
it feels grand. Everything I saw in that trailer feels grand, and obviously having you got Jeremy Piven. Tell
Hmm.
us about that.
Jeremy Piven. Yeah, Jeremy's great. I've wanted to work with him for a while. All my cast list consists of people who I just want to work with because I'm a massive movie fan. So whether it's Star Wars or Jurassic or something, you'll always probably see something pop up on my cast list because I don't really cast for who's hot now. I cast because I just want to work with them and have conversations about their past movies.
Yeah,
So, so this one particularly, obviously, I'm a huge fan of. Yeah, he's Jeremy's been around for a long time. Not to say he's old, but he did Gross Point Blank. He did Serendipity. He's done Black Hawk Down as one of the Black Hawk pilots that crashes in Black Hawk Down. He's done a whole bunch of stuff, and obviously Entourage, which for me in the early 2000s of HBO was one of my go-to shows. And you would think someone working on a film set during that time would probably not want to watch a show about films, but it's the opposite. I just love it so much, and I love the whole film world, and that's why I'm a director. So I sort of geek out with all that stuff. And to have him come over and do it, and then also be able to talk to him sidebar about Entourage and everything else was really cool. And I think it injects, like, obviously if you know Jeremy Piven, you know what you're going to get with Jeremy Piven. Like, I'm not going to hire Jeremy Piven and say, hey, can you please be you know, what's a different
Less.
actor? What's a different actor than Jeremy Piven? I mean, can you please be Daniel Day Lewis? I mean, can you please
yeah,
be
yeah.
someone else? So if you know Jeremy, you're going to get Jeremy, and I think that added just a little something to the film that probably wasn't there originally, and I think all that just adds to the sort of the secret sauce when people go and see it. Have a good time, and there's Jeremy Piven and everything else. So yeah, it was a fun time having him here. And he recently, again, I don't want to speak for him, but he recently saw some of it when he came in to do his ADR, and he hadn't seen any, and he was just like, he was very very happy. So he's on board to to be helping us out when it comes to the release. So you'll see more of him around, that's for sure.
Oh, that's great. And you have obviously you have a great cast. But in Anthony and Gruber as well from
Yeah, I mean,
Indiana Jones fame, and
from
obviously
Indiana Jones, they used him as some of the stand-ins for young Indy, and also
yeah,
Age of
yeah,
Adeline, where he played young Harrison Ford in Age of Adeline, which is where I saw him. But yeah, I just again wanted to work with all these people, and he actually reached out to me like back a couple of years ago when I was filming Bring Him to Me. He just reached out to me randomly. This is how some things just happen randomly in the film industry. He reached out to me just randomly. He's just like, "Hey, I'm Anthony Gruber, and I'd love to work with you." And I was like, "Great." And I got him to audition for this one, and yeah, he just hit the mark, hit the role. He plays Gerald Keyes in this movie, and if you read the book, it's kind of described as he's kind of described as like a movie star quality of the
yeah.
squad. So I think Anthony really brought that type of quality. Not to say he just riffed on Harrison Ford, but him just as a person is very movie star quality And I hope he goes on to do big things because he's really good, and I'd work with him again in a second.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, Another actor that you obviously had the privilege of working with is Dr. Alan Grant himself from Jurassic Park. On your film, Bring Him to Me, right? You cast
Yeah,
Sam Neill.
yeah, it's like these 6 degrees of a 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon type situation going on. Where it's like I'm making a dinosaur movie. I've worked with Alan Grant. You know what I mean? Like there's all these different sort of connections. Yeah, yeah, I worked with him on Bring Him to Me. And I did show him this script. Yeah, I did show it to him, and he gave me his thoughts and his comments. So that was kind of cool. And just being around him, he's a fantastic actor, but also just a really genuine person, and a true gentleman. Um, but yeah, there's a couple of times where we're downtime on set, and I'll just be standing there and come over, and he's like, "Would you like to talk about Jurassic Park?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's talk about Jurassic Park." Um,
He knows. He knows.
yeah, exactly. I think in my office was like I always bring the actors into my office and just sit and talk to them just about the character and the role, which we barely got to through on Bring It to Me because we ended up talking so much about Jurassic, and Spielberg and the shoot and that. But because I'm such a big movie nerd, like I've seen so much of behind the scenes. Like I've seen all the original behind the scenes. I've seen the movies that made us on Netflix. I've seen all this sort of stuff. So he's telling me these stories, and I already kind of know because of the behind the scenes things. But it's just great to hear it from him and the little extra tidbits that maybe didn't make those cuts or whatever else. So it
Yeah, yeah.
was just fascinating to be like, wow, okay, well then that documentary was true, or that one was right, or that but here's some little extra little nuggets in there that he can only tell me. So that was a very good, very life, one of those ticks of life to be like, that was great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Achieved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the standouts you mentioned before, how the trailer, when you posted the teaser trailer online, it kind of took the internet by storm. One of the standout shots was the correct me if I'm wrong, but the Velociraptors at the end, or the Utah Raptors at the end, the three of them.
Utah Raptors.
Utah Raptors, incredible shot. Um, did you at any point did you debate putting that shot in the trailer? Was that kind of like the
There
hook
was a big
point?
debate. There was a big debate. I was the one. Usually, I'm the ones of saying hold back. I don't want to say. I mean, I like J.J. Abrams' mystery box
Yeah, yeah.
appeal to movies like the Cloverfield effect or the Cloverfield, his effect on Cloverfield, and the Force Awakens. I like all his mystery box ideas. So I always like to try to have some teasers, have some holdbacks. That one was me actually saying we got to put this in. We got to end it with something to make fans go, "Oh, look at that!
Yeah, like
That's
wow.
pretty cool."
Yeah.
Because other guy people are like, "Oh no, we'll hold it back. We'll hold it back." And I'm like, "No, I just don't want people to end it and just be like, oh, okay, cool. I'll watch
Yeah.
that movie." But I think that shot with the feathers, and I was even talking. I had a conversation with I won't say which studio, but a large studio that talked to me afterwards, and they make some very big films, and they were like, yeah, again, I'm just this filmmaker in Queensland, right? So we put it out there. Like I think Bring Him to Me, as of this moment, maybe has 8,000 people who watched the trailer of that. So, take that as you will. And then within like 48 hours, this hit a million. So you kind of go,
Wow.
hey, you might be onto something here. And you kind of go, oh, it's cool for the fans to like it. I wonder if it's reaching people in Hollywood. Then eventually you have phone calls with people in Hollywood, and they're like, "Oh yeah, my assistant ran in," and they're like, "Hey, you should watch this trailer that just came out." And we all crowded around his computer in LA, and we were watching it. We're like, "Who made this? This is like what we're doing." And I'm like, "Oh, that's nice to hear that it
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
gets to where it needs to go." And yeah, they actually mentioned they're like, "You're doing feathers." They're like, "That must be tough because we haven't even done feathers." And I'm like, "I don't want to talk about the feathers. I don't want to talk about how long that took us to get those feathers.
It's a
It's
contentious
been a
issue for sure.
journey with those feathers."
So who was the VFX department on this film? Because that shot alone is stunning. It's a real
Yeah.
standout.
Well, again, wearing all the hats I'm the visual effects supervisor slash visual effects producer.
Wow. Okay.
So, I've done some pretty visual effects heavy movies in the past, and
Yeah.
again, taking from the the success and the failures of certain shots or certain scenes or certain films, I just got to a point where I was like, I've seen behind the curtain. I don't like what I see. I don't want that to go down this road with Jurassic, with Primitive War. Um, I have to do something different. So I came up with the idea that, I'm going to run it myself. And that was then on me to go out into the world and bring a team in. So I basically built my own effects department, which I'm going to continue moving forward film to film now. So I kind of, not to say I'm George Lucas, but I've kind of done a George Lucas where I've just built my own little studio over here and my own people. And I've got animation directors, animation and CFX and FX and all the different departments. So I've got everyone now. So I've sort of built this sort of team around me. And so I spent the last year and a half building this team, and we'd be doing shot by shot and going through and just really sort of pushing it to the limit of what an independent studio can do. And hopefully when it comes out, people will go, hey, look, we understand it's not Jurassic, and it's it is what it is, and people will hopefully like it. I don't want to say too much right now, but hopefully that's the connotation. It's hard because the general public don't think like that. The general public think every movie is a Hollywood movie, and they just think, hey, every movie has $100 million. But I hope we can do movie magic enough where they go, wow, that was pretty good.
That's the thing. If you tell the story well, I think some people can set aside, oh, that wasn't the most perfect shot. But even then, we've said it before, in Fallen Kingdom and Dominion and in all the Jurassics, there's a handful of shots that haven't stood the test of time. It happens.
100%, 100%, 100%. Even in all the new ones, there's definitely, I agree with that. Without going too much into it, there's definitely shots that haven't stood the test of time. And for some reason, that original Jurassic Park shots still stand the test of time.
It
You know
did.
what I mean?
It has. And the second, the Lost
Yeah,
World
I
as
was about
well.
to say, even Lost World, and to be honest, even Jurassic Park 3. Most of it.
I love some GP3 respect.
Yeah,
Lovely Spino in the trailer, by the way, as well.
Yeah, big obviously conversations around the Spino versus Caprasuchus in the book and everything else.
Yeah, so let's, for the people listening out there that are huge dinosaur fans, let's talk about the species if you can. Obviously, you can't reveal everything, but we've got Utahraptors, we've got a Spinosaurus. What other dinosaurs from the novel are you featuring?
The novel. So I mean the Caprasuchus versus Spino thing. Again, this is a Jurassic Park rebirth. I'm not going to blame them; it's not their fault. But maybe it's just one of those universal things that sometimes people have the same idea. Like Armageddon and Deep Impact all came out the same year, and all those different ones, right? It's just Gareth Edwards and I just must have had the same thought, because we originally shot it as Caprasuchus, and there's cut dialogue, maybe gets out one day, that has Trisha saying, Caprasuchus, because that's literally was going to do what the book says. And then we got to some test screenings that I always like to bring in certain people for test screenings, and it was early previous animation, so it wasn't anything. It was like early on, but the feedback was from ordinary people, and this isn't dinosaur fans. This is just general public. We're like, oh, they just look like big crocodiles, and I saw Lake Placid. I mean, that was like one comment, which is like a random comment, but there was enough comments throughout. It wasn't just one person, right? Like I always say, if there's one comment, that's just their opinion. 2 comments, maybe. 3 comments, maybe there's something that we got to think about. And it was like overwhelming of that scene of like, yeah, they're just big crocodiles. So like we've seen that before. So we decided to go. I was like, well, let's think of another creature that can be in the water. And I always loved me some Spinosaurus. And I was like, imagine like the sails coming out of the water near this boat. That would be really cool. And then I saw the first trailer for Rebirth, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh my god.
They stole the idea.
All my people freaked out and were like, Luke, what have you done? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just looking at this trailer like everybody else. This is like, we're seeing this for the first time like the whole world is. I didn't know they were going to do that. But it is what it is, and we're too far along then for an indie film to suddenly change course and do something else. And I just said, I'm just gonna have to wear it, and just there it is. You know what I mean? Two Spinosaurus movies in 1 year. But yes, there's a Spinosaurus attack. So there's the Utahraptors. And I guess a little tidbit on that is it was difficult because I had to quickly look up, not quickly, but obviously in my research for the script, the Utahraptor wasn't found till much later, like to the 80s or even to the 90s. I think even around the same time as the first Jurassic Park. And so in the 1960s in Vietnam, no one would know what the word Utahraptor is. So I had to sort of trickily get around that a little bit. In the book, obviously, you can just write as a description, these are Utahraptors, and the Utahraptors are coming because there's no dialogue. But in the movie, you can't really say that. So I had to get around that one. Other species in the book. What have we seen in the trailer? I don't want to say too much until the second trailer comes out. There's we saw the Utahraptor in the trailer. We've seen Spinosaurus. Obviously, the T Rex. We've
Yeah, you
seen
see the
that
Rex's mouth, like
mouth.
yeah.
If people have read the book, they know that there's a mom and a dad T Rex,
Mm.
and some baby T Rexes in the book. Um, there's some species in the book that didn't make it, and some species that I've added in myself because I'm just a dinosaur nerd as well. So I had to add some species in for myself. Yeah, I don't want to touch on that too much. There's still more to
Let,
come, but I mean, it's not major spoilers, but there's scenes with I won't say which species, but long neck dinosaurs. There's some herbivores. There's some other carnivores. So we sort of spread it enough. I think all up there's maybe 11 species in this
okay,
movie. Maybe some have cameos, some are bigger. But yeah,
there's a if I remember correctly, there's a chapter in Primitive War where the team sort of are trying to get across a large area, and there's a Quetzalcoatlus. I think it's a Quetzalcoatlus.
yeah.
Is that something that you
Well,
were
that was in
able
the
to?
trailer.
Yeah.
That was in the trailer,
That
yeah.
was in the
So
trailer.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
yeah.
So there's a scene where they're trying to get across a large area in the movie, and the Quetzalcoatlus come, and it's a
It's
very interesting
brutal.
scene. It's a very interesting scene. I'll leave it like that.
Yeah, for sure. It is
Yeah,
brutal. That was one of my favorite parts of the book. Okay,
yeah.
so you talk about second trailer. When's that something that we could expect to see?
Soon.
Soon. Soon. You're covering yourself. Soon.
Yeah, I mean, look, San Diego Comic Con has been announced, so I think you can look for it around then.
Okay, great. And San Diego Comic Con, you talked about that at the beginning, but that's a huge achievement, obviously, and we have some Outpost people on the ground there. They're going to be there checking it out. But you're doing a panel, right?
Yeah, it's a panel and a signing, which is great for a film like ours. So yeah, on the Friday, July 25th, is our panel, and myself and the cast will be there, and we'll be showing. It says online they're showing exclusive footage, so there's the answer to when potentially trailers will come out. So
That's trailer two. That's awesome. That's awesome. No, seriously, congrats. That's such a huge achievement, and
and that will
uh,
kick off our sort of marketing campaign in a big way between then and the release date.
yeah, which is at some point during August. It
Yes,
does say online, but we'll
it does say online.
okay.
It does say online, but I'm 2 days out from letting the people do their press release, so I'll just say it does say it online as of
um,
recording this. As of recording this, yeah.
as of recording this, yeah. Okay, so Primitive War obviously is one novel, but Ethan has he's done a graphic novel. There's a sequel book. I'm not sure if there's a second sequel book. If there's one sequel book, and then is there another follow up?
I think there's
Um,
like Primitive War 2, but then there's Primitive War Dispatches,
yeah,
and
Dispatches.
that's like
Yes.
short stories that's set, just after book one, I think.
Okay.
And then there's book two, and then there's Dispatches 2, and then I think he's working on Primitive War 3 at the moment.
Okay. And I had another interview with you where you mentioned that you got the rights to Primitive War, but you also got sequel rights. So is that obviously depending on how this movie turns out?
Depending
It's
on
how
how
that
it works out, I would, that's
that
all I
is
want to
something you
say.
want to kind
I
of
don't want people to feel like, oh, Luke's just going to keep making these. It's all depending. So the listeners out here, if you want to, see more dinosaurs, it's not Jurassic Park, please go see this movie.
yeah. Well, I mean that's the thing, isn't it? With Hollywood, Jurassic does seem to be the only dinosaur franchise that exists, and
Currently,
some audiences aren't happy with the direction it's taken in recent years. So it's sort of like prime. It's the right time for another dinosaur movie to come along. Obviously, we had 65, but that wasn't nobody was a nobody really liked
maybe
that one.
maybe I can comment on that one. I mean, it's not a
Yeah,
franchise.
yeah.
Then again, I don't want to annoy Sam Raimi if he really, I don't want, I don't want to walk into a party one day and he's like, I really love that movie and I heard you bitching about it. So,
Yeah,
um, look, for me, like I actually, I like the technical aspects of that movie, as in like the way the director, the way that it was shot and everything else. It obviously
yeah,
looks really slick, and I think it had the 40 or $50 million budget, which I would
yeah,
love. Please,
yeah.
please give that to me, and you see what I do with that. Um, but yeah, I mean, like as a dinosaur, I'll just literally just say, not as a filmmaker, just as a dinosaur fan, I didn't understand what was going on with those dinosaurs. As the first watch, I was sitting there. I was more took me a little while more confusing to get through the dinosaur aspects than it was to actually watch what was going on.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So I
I
guess who are you appealing to is the question I always ask when I'm making movies. Like the promise of the premise is what I always say. And it's hard when there's only two people, kind of like The Last of Us, Mando Grogu feel going through a thing. So you kind of go, not many people to kill here, not many people for dinosaurs to munch on. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, 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 for sure. That's the thing. I
that's
really
just
liked the setup of the movie. It was a good idea, and then it kind of just
yeah,
trailed in a very strange way.
yeah,
And as I saw a load of comments online, didn't tick the boxes when for what people wanted with dinosaurs. So
yeah.
obviously
It made
from
it. It made a decent. It made a decent box office. I would love that box office. So who knows what's going to happen? With my film. But going back to your other comment, yeah, I definitely feel like potentially this could be the right time. Sometimes there's those storms in a teacup, storms in a bottle, um, where the lightning in the bottle. Sorry, my mistake. Lightning in the bottle, where it's just the right time, where something beforehand might not have worked, something after might not have worked, but right at the time it just worked. And potentially, I don't want to put tickets on this movie, but I definitely feel like it could work. I feel like there's the more interviews I do and the more I read online about Jurassic, I feel like there's definitely people love Jurassic series. I'm one of them, so I think people are going to watch it no matter what forever.
yeah,
Um, but I definitely feel like there's this kind of group, a kind of age group that grew up with Jurassic and now in their late 30s or 40s or around that, let's just say around that time, who just kind of want that little bit more. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I feel like that's me for one, as a fan of the Jurassic series. Like I'll go see them no matter what, and I'll show my kids to them, and they'll buy the toys, and they'll do all that merch stuff and whatever, which is obviously a big part of their system that they got going on over there. But there's this cohort of 40-year-old, 30-year-old guys, people, women as well, who just grew up with it, but now just want that little bit extra on top of like, I would love to see dinosaurs fighting people or
yeah,
whatever. And
yeah.
this and this delivers on that respect at least.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
that was one of the things when I first read the book. It ticked a lot of boxes that I had wanted to see in the Jurassic franchise. Obviously, a completely different era, a different setup, but uh, the I had wanted the franchise to kind of mature with me. As I got
yeah,
older, I wanted it to go in that
exactly.
direction. And while Jurassic World has all its merits, people love it. I did feel like it just kind of went back a bunch of steps and started again. And it direct. I mean, director himself said, it's more geared towards a younger audience. Um, so
Are
I've
we
been
talking? Are we
waiting.
talking the latest one or Jurassic World, the
The
first
the very first Jurassic World, like Colin Trevor always
Colin?
said,
Colin.
I'm kind
Yeah.
of writing these, as if a kid from a kid's perspective. These are for children and stuff, and I get it. The Jurassic movies have always been family movies, but I wanted to tap into the darker aspects of it, the more brutal aspects. And when I read Primitive War, um, it did all of that and more. It's a very violent book, so I think you're right. There is a huge generation of people that grew up with those movies and have wanted to see something darker and a little bit more. I don't want to say bloody, but more violent.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. And there was a big question whether we try to squeeze the film out before Jurassic because we're worried that if we came out after, it might hurt us as a film. But that just went out the window very so quickly. And I think coming after, I think it's actually gonna help. It's almost
Yeah, I
like
think so.
playing
Yeah,
playing Russian roulette with a massive studio. Because
yeah,
my number one concern was going to be like if people left because I don't know what the movie's like. I have I have a couple of little spies that were telling me things, but that's about it. But I was like, I love Gareth Edwards as a filmmaker. Um, and I was just concerned. My heart palpitations were like, what if people walk out and there's this like just this transcendent ending of just this amazing dinosaur action that I just can't beat, and people go, well, never need to see another dinosaur movie again in my life because that movie just quenched my thirst forever. Luckily, I think that hasn't happened, so I feel like we're in kind of the best position now. So it's all kind of worked out for Team Primitive War, I think.
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing. The box office for Rebirth has shown that dinosaurs are still so prominent.
Yes,
Audiences want it, and
yes.
yeah, as we said before, you're coming in at the right time, I think.
Yeah, yeah. As I mean, it's all worked out from the fan perspective of not quenching, maybe not the third act being what I thought it might be, and then also having the box office go well. It shows the cinemas people love dinosaurs, and it shows the fans of like, yeah, maybe we can see more. Maybe it hasn't quenched my thirst just yet, so that's kind of cool.
How you mentioned brief pre-production, a short six or so weeks filming. What was your post-production like?
I'm still in post now.
You still in post?
I'll be in post. They've given me a date, and I'm going to be working up until that date. So I'm very tired because it is getting very close because it's July and it's coming out in August. So yeah, I'm still in post now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we won't keep you much longer. We'll let you get back to it. But
How long was it before you felt like you'd seen a cut of the film? Then, given how much there is to fill in with VFX and stuff like that, have you felt like you've seen a cut of the film, or is it still a few days away?
No, like obviously I watch the cut all the time. I'm also the editor of the movie, so taking on board the production design, also the editor. So I'm very. If this movie succeeds or fails, it's all going to be on me. You know what I mean? So I mean, I've shown it enough now where I know it's at least good in my mind. And it's film subjective, right? So I could be like, this is great. And someone could watch it and be like, it's too loud and it's just guns and violence and dinosaurs. I'm like, well, maybe this isn't for you.
yeah,
Because I had some critic on Rainfall, literally like a published critic. I was like looking at all the reviews, and one of them from Canberra was like, I went into this movie and 10 minutes in, it was just so loud. And I got up and I left the cinema and I got a coffee and I walked around outside. It was a nice day. And I came back inside. Oh, the movie was still going. I was like, this is an actual critic that's giving me a bad review on Rotten Tomatoes.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, all right.
Well, he's from Canberra.
That's
No,
just a
no
review
wonder
of his
why.
He's from
He's from
Canberra.
Canberra. No wonder.
Yeah, but I obviously looked up him. Say I can't help myself. Sort of deep dive into who is this person? Why is he not liking my movie? And looking up his other reviews and what paper he was with. I was like, I just don't think you should have even watched this movie. I just don't think it was for you. Anyway, I've watched the cut now enough where I think it's good. I watched it very early. Obviously, I edited it. The very first cut. Even then, there was definitely big standout scenes where the producers and the team here were like, "Hey, this works. This is good." I've cut other films in the past where the first cut's like, "Oh my god, we have to get in. We got to doctor this movie and save this movie and quickly cut things around and change the whole structure and that." But it's just been pretty easy in a way for editing. It's been pretty linear, as in like it's fallen into place. What we shot looked great. And there was just big gaps of just nothing where there was no dinosaurs. But at least I can picture it as a director. I can picture exactly what I wanted there, then move it to previs and then whatever else. I had to stand there the first time and literally stand next to the screen and be like, and now he's coming out. And now there'll be like a rah, and he'll do things. And they'll be like, everyone's looking at me like, okay, sure. Like,
Go off, Luke.
there's
on.
just like a lot. Because I wanted to, my main thing was, if we're going in independent, I wanted to shoot everything on set and feel like at least we were there and not shooting on green screens. And then the visual effects guys that I got in would then have to at least match our on-set lighting, our on-set environment, rather than them being like, "Hey, we're just shooting." So I don't think I used the green screen at all, except for maybe like deep background stuff, just for easy rotoscoping. But the rest of it was all practical, built or on location. And I really think from everyone's feedback here, that's really helped elevate every artist we've had working on it to match what we shot, which is great.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I mean, that's one thing.
The plan worked.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and the trailer stands for itself. Speaks for itself. It looks fantastic, and I think it's one thing that Gareth Edwards spoke about with Rebirth, is that he wanted to film everything he could on location, because when it comes to visual effects, you want to at least be able to match it to what was there when you captured it. And I think we saw a lot of that in Rebirth, but that's one of the things nowadays. So many movies are VFX heavy. Just almost every shot has something that they've manipulated with computer generated imagery, and I think we to sort of stand up for, no, it should be all location, because we have big visual effects dinosaurs coming into this. I think that's it speaks for itself. There's so many movies and trailers that I just get put off of these days because I'm just like, oh, it just looks like a CGI mess, and I think it's refreshing to actually. I mean, that's what filmmaking is, right? It's on location, getting down and dirty.
Damn, Gareth Edwards stole my line.
Yeah.
I've seen those interviews, and I'm like, oh, that's what I was going to say.
He stole your Spinos and he stole your line.
I know, right? Again, it's just that universal connection. I think it's just out in the ether. Once you think of something, it's just someone else can take it into the ether. But yes, he's correct, and I was going to say the same thing. The difference, I guess, I don't want to be, a stick in the mud, but the difference between those movies is they can just pass it off to ILM and watch the magic happen.
Yeah, for sure.
With their visual effects, but it looks nice. Like Jurassic World looks obviously looks really, really good. Obviously, it would have to for the budget that they spent. So I would hope so.
Yeah, that's a big budget, right? It was like 220 or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I think it was 100 million just for the visual effects alone. So that's US dollars, and I'm working in Australian dollars, which is terrible.
Oh yeah, that's
in terms of the world, economy. You know what I mean? When I go to the UK and bring a UK artist on, I got to pay him double basically.
So, oh god.
So I got all that to worry about. The other part of me, the producer part of me, has to worry about all that stuff.
Well, it's a very exciting time. Before we let you go, Jaden, Alex, anything else you want to ask?
I guess it's pretty obvious, but I guess just for a fun question, where would you rank your Jurassic movies? Like in
Oh yeah, we are a Jurassic podcast. We should probably do that.
I should probably. Oh man, I don't want to. It's so. That's a hard question. I don't want. I don't want to come across. I don't want to come across like I'm bitching about things. But so you actually want me to rank Jurassic Parks?
If you feel comfortable, then yeah, because it's like it's kind of like that time you don't want to be.
Safe space.
This is going to be all. This is safe space. It'll be all over Reddit. It'll be all over Reddit.
Oh, we don't care what Reddit
if someone's listening to this who's on Reddit, someone wrote to me because I tried to be all fan interaction. Someone wrote to me on Instagram, private message, and was like, "Hey, I love the movie," and had a bit of a chat back and forth, and asked me about the Spinos, and I told him the answer, what I told you guys. And then I go on Reddit, and then he's like, someone wrote, "It's a Spino," and someone's like, "Source." And then they screenshotted the message that I sent him, private messages on Reddit. I'm like, well, never going to talk to someone on private messages again.
That's so bad.
Well, for some context, right? Jaden's favorite is Jurassic Park 3. He puts that above any other. So you are in a safe space.
It's funny that I've seen that go around. That some people put that.
It's the new wave. It's like everyone hated it from like 2018, and then Dominion came out, and then everyone's like, "It's not that bad."
Okay. I never thought it was that bad. I'm definitely not a hater of Jurassic Park 3. I remember when I saw it in the cinema up here in Queensland the week it came out, 2001, I think it was, and the cinema was empty. It was just me and my family, and I was like, "Where are all the dinosaur fans?" It was a weird time of the film. I guess it was just a weird time to release it. It didn't have the fan.
It released against Princess Diaries, if I remember correctly, so that might have been a big factor.
Really? Look, if I want to rank them, I'm going to say Jurassic Park 1. There's no, big spoilers there. And then I'm going to say the Lost World. I have I got a really fondness of the Lost World.
It's a perfect movie.
And then I'm going to say Jurassic Park 3. And then it's almost in order of release. I mean, yes. Rebirth, it's so new. I've only seen it once, and it's unfair to give it up against movies I've seen a lot. But it's nearly in order of release, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so I'll take Rebirth sidebar there. Don't take that as a Rebirth thing. Rebirth maybe above. Rebirth will be above Fallen Kingdom. To be honest, I think Fallen Kingdom would be last on my list. I really had problems with that movie.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
To me, it's kind of like the Last Jedi of the Jurassic franchise.
Yeah,
and
when J.A. Bayona was announced as well, we were all like,
I was really excited.
This is the way to go. This is what we wanted. Spanish horror director kind of thing.
Yeah, I was super excited. And then it turned out to be Jurassic House.
Yeah.
Jurassic House.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably, to be honest, I'd nearly put that one last. Even Dominion, for its faults, it has Sam Neill, and I talked to Sam Neill about it. So for me, Dominion's going to be a little higher because of the Sam Neill factor.
That makes
But yeah,
sense.
and I saw Jurassic World the first World, like I said, 7 times in the cinema, so I have a a fondness of that
Yeah.
too. But nothing to me still below the 3 originals. So yeah.
Yeah. I think we're on the same page there. I
Yeah.
when Jurassic World came out, we've been waiting 14, 15 years for another
Yeah.
Jurassic movie. So that was like the excitement was there. But now that when the dust settled, I was like, it just wasn't quite what I wanted. I didn't want another park. I didn't want like to go down that route. But
Mm.
all these
I had like pre-booked tickets. So I had 3 sessions the first day because I was like super excited about Jurassic World. And I'm glad I did because again, I had a fun time.
yeah.
But like it was the same with for me. I'm as much as I'm a Jurassic fan, I'm like a massive Star Wars fan. It's like the biggest thing for me is Star Wars, and I had The Last Jedi booked like 5 times in the first day, and it was the first movie ever where I literally just threw out the tickets after I saw
Oh,
it
man.
once. Maybe I saw it twice to give it another go, and then I just threw the rest out. Couldn't do it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, so I won't say it's that bad with Jurassic. What's the second one? I don't
Fallen
even
Kingdom.
remember it now. Fallen Kingdom. I
Fallen,
wouldn't say it's
yeah.
that bad with it, but it's definitely on that list of like the Last Jedi for me. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That was just a bit too
Caleb's
long.
not going to be
I
happy
just
to
walked
hear
out of it
about that.
going, what,
Yeah.
what?
Luke Sparke hates the Jurassic movies. That's what you'll
Oh
say.
god, that's what's gonna happen now.
That's what we're going to call the podcast.
Oh god,
We're joking, by the way.
that's all
Um,
right. No, I'm sure I get a phone call from my publicist soon and be like, "What are you doing?"
how dare you?
Um,
No. It's
no,
all good.
but look, technically, like they're all really great quality movies. And dinosaur factors. I think for Fallen Kingdom though is one of my favorite shots actually for a movie that I don't really like was the Brachiosaurus when they
Yeah,
left
yeah.
the island.
Mm.
That hit with me. I think with a lot of people as well. And that scene with the T-Rex when they're trying to get the injection or do something with him. I can't remember. I've only seen it once.
The blood
Yeah.
transfusion.
But
Yeah.
had that that scene where he's asleep in the pen. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
More of that. I mean, more of that is what I think
For
people
sure, yeah.
interested in seeing. This whole mutant thing. I'm not a fan personally.
Mm.
Going down that road, becoming more of a monster movie. And yes, people are going to say, well, they're all monster movies because John Hammond, they did the DNA and they're not really dinosaurs. I understand all that. Full disclosure, I'm not stupid. But they're obviously the most expensive dinosaur movies we get, and the most time we get to watch dinosaurs be alive on the screen. So I like
Yeah.
to go and see more dinosaurs. So when these mutant things, the Indominus Rex, sure, I'll give it a pass. That was an interesting take. And then it's kind of gone down that rabbit hole into Rebirth, which is like a lot. And they killed the Velociraptors, and I wasn't a
Oh,
fan of that.
don't even.
Yeah.
That's my most disappointing
That's
part.
okay because like it hurts for me. No, it hurts for me, but it's almost I'm like, well, I got my Utah Raptors, and
Yeah.
they're kind of like the stars of my movie, so
And they're
it's
looking
okay.
brutal as well. They look
Hell yeah.
beastly. That's the thing, all the Jurassic movies have merits. I think Rebirth, like the T-Rex in that, the T-Rex scene, the river raft scene, that was probably my favorite part, just because the T-Rex was acting like an animal in that scene, and you had that slow build up, and it felt like a Jurassic Park movie in that moment.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of conversations I've had with my animation director, who's an amazing guy. Has worked on some really, really great movies, and to have him on board has been really, really great. And we had big conversations, and I was like filming myself acting out the Rex and acting out raptors here in the office and sending it to him to try to give him the idea because I love that animalistic stuff. Like in the first Jurassic Park, when the Rex puts the car upside down and it's just like looking at it and it like bites the tire and it kind of looks back and just that animal feel rather than like I am just here killing people. I really loved that stuff, so I kept really pressing that. I'm like, remember, every time I saw an animation, I'm like, remember, they're animals. We got to push this whole like, it might be some randomness. I just love randomness in movies, and it's hard in the edit because then some producer or some executive watches it and they're like, well, "What's this about? Why is there just this random thing?" And I'm like, "Because random is good. Random is fun, rather than just being like attack, attack, attack all the time." So I've tried at least to bring some of that animalistic thing, pending scenes and the context of what happens in it. But yeah, I've tried.
Well, I'm excited, man. I'm really excited for the Elusive Trailer 2, which comes in theory with
Soon.
Comic Con, right? July 25th. July 25th, you said?
Something like that.
Well, that's great. So before we go, anything else you want to mention, or where can people find more of your work? I think lukesparke.com, right?
Yeah, lukesparke.com is my website, or just IMDb what I've been up to and what I'm doing, or follow me on Instagram, follow the Primitive War social medias. There's some cool, fun stuff coming out on the Primitive War website. Actually, there's going to be some really great digital giveaways if you sign up, and we've made all this like really cool merch, 1960s inspired, Vietnam era inspired sort of posters, patches, propaganda posters, different things. So they're all going to be sort of starting to drop after Comic Con. So
Great.
definitely, check all that out if you want some free stuff. So yeah, I think just keep following Primitive War, and please go try and see it when it comes out. People in the UK, I'm still working. I'm still working on it as an indie film. As an indie film, it's very, very difficult to convince studios and cinemas for some reason. To get movies in cinemas, which is what I really want people to experience it, because we're mixing in Dolby Atmos and we shot it on like these amazing anamorphic lenses. It looks really cinematic, and I want people to experience it on the big screen. In America and in Australia, we're covered, which is great. The rest of the world, I'm still working on it.
Okay, yeah. We'll be looking out for the UK then, because me and Alex, we saw Rebirth in Dolby and what was it, the Odeon in Leicester Square.
Yes, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that hopefully we'll be seeing Primitive War in the exact same theater. That would be pretty sick.
Hopefully.
Just fly down to
That would
Australia,
be
guys. It's fine.
Yeah, all that.
fly down
All
to
that.
Australia. Fly over. You guys are close to America. You can just fly across to America.
Yeah.
For me, I gotta
for
hop
sure.
I gotta hop on a plane on my Tuesday to go over to the sound mix and finalizing the film sound mix, and then going down to San Diego Comic Con. But for me, the flight's like 13, 14 hours. It's a long way.
Yeah, not fun. Not fun.
I'll be reading Primitive War 2 on the plane. I've read it,
Yeah.
I've read it once, but I'm gonna read it again
You're
because I got a
planning it out.
feeling. Just because I got a feeling. I got a feeling.
For sure.
But
Well,
I'll read
seriously,
it.
thank you so much for speaking with us today. Thank you for joining us on this podcast. And
That's all right. I really appreciate the time.
no, it's been great. It's been great talking Primitive War and Jurassic, and it's great to know that you hate the Jurassic movies as well. I think I love that.
Hate is a strong word.
Oh,
Hate
sorry,
is a strong
I meant
word.
love. I meant love.
Yeah.
No, all great. And for people that want more on Primitive War, if you haven't seen the trailer, you got to check that out on YouTube. But also, there's a behind the scenes, I think, that came out before the trailer that shows the filming, shows Jeremy Piven, which is hilarious. And there's some really great stuff in there about the movie, so it's worth checking all that out. Luke, thank you so much for joining us, man.
That's all right. Really appreciate it, guys.
All right. Hopefully, speak to you soon.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see Primitive War. That's gonna be
When is it? 21st of August.
So 25th of July is the Comic Con date, which is in theory when we're going to see.
And the 11th is the premiere here in Sydney.
Because I'm in the US 12th to the 24th of August, so if it's out in that time period.
Oh yeah, you probably could see it.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll look now. It says August 21st.
Yeah, then I might be able to
bingo.
catch it.
Aha, there you go.
Mm.
It's a shame about the UK.
Yeah.
Hopefully he lands something there.
Mm.
Because it's the kind of thing that Jurassic fans have been calling out for another, especially the dinosaur fans.
Yeah,
of
I think
Jurassic.
It'd be nice to see
they've
someone else do
capitalised on it.
dinosaurs really well and have success with it, because it is weird that there have been dinosaur movies, but like if you ask me just like off the bat, like, oh, name another good dinosaur movie, I'd be like, oh, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Disney's
Disney one.
Dinosaur.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
that's all I can say.
it's Jurassic. Jurassic's dominated for so long, and
Yeah.
as we said with Luke on the pod, it's like it hasn't. It for people like me, I know in terms of Outpost crew, I'm like an outlier now, where I'm like, just kill the franchise, it's done. Like it didn't go in the direction I wanted it to, so it's over. I'm not a dinosaur guy, but I am looking forward to Primitive War in that sense, because the book is so good. It told its story so well. It's very emotional at times. It's, as he mentioned, it's psychological, and it's just kind of, it gives you that aspect of Jurassic that is missing now. That brutal dinosaur action. Like they're not going to spare
Brutally
you
violent.
because you're
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to spare you because you're a movie star. You know, they're going to
Yeah.
slice your face off. So
That's exactly how it should be. You shouldn't go into it being able to figure out exactly where the film's going to end. Like, take me on a journey that I don't know, and especially with this
yeah,
style, I should have asked a bit more. Like, because it's kind of like making two films in one: a dinosaur movie, but also a
a
a
woman
Vietnam
film.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Um,
It's a great story, and so if I remember correctly, it is a great setup for how the dinosaurs are there and why they're there. It's very it's not your average like, oh, it's a lost world. I don't think it's very cool. But yeah, so the last podcast we were talking about Rebirth, and the comments have been great on the pod. So I really appreciate everybody that listened, everybody that watched the podcast and listened to what we all had to say.
the comments were interesting. I'd summarize it as 50% of people are like, "Yeah, Jack's got a point," and then 50% of people are like, "Fuck that Jack guy."
You know what? I think the comments weigh a lot stronger, and yeah, Jack's the only one willing to say it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I
It's
did
so
see a couple negative comments, which is hilarious. There was a guy that was saying, why are we listening to this Jack guy or something? I'm like, because why are you listening to the podcast then? I mean,
Yeah.
my pod. I don't know. But like, yeah, it was refreshing that a lot of the commenters and listeners out there were sort of like, yeah, that's the problem we are facing, and it's a shame, and we should call it out. And it's refreshing that I'm not the only fucking fan who thinks that, because I'm definitely one of the only outposters who thinks that.
It's
No, like
tricky because I feel like coming out, I had very similar reactions to you. And I think it's been true. I know Fallen Kingdom, I think when I watched that the first time, I felt like it had killed the franchise. But I soften to them for some reason. I'm able to find parts that I enjoy.
Is it because you're a Jurassic fan though, and you want to love
yeah.
it?
Yeah. I think there's that as well. There's the fact that this is my franchise. Like
Yeah.
I don't care for anything. I love Star Wars. I love Marvel and stuff like that. But it's not got the same connection to me that Jurassic does. So I'm maybe trying to find something to love. It's like
It's
when you have a
blindness.
child and that child grows up to be a bastard, but you're like, well, I'm going to have to love you.
It's the red tinted glasses effect is the way that, because I think at the end of the day, like yes, there's things that I like about the movie, but I think as a community with all of us, you do have that sense of frustration, and everyone is feeling that. It's just that no one knows how to really gravitate or express that frustration of
Except
everyone just
me.
focuses. Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I mean. I think everyone gravitated towards you because you put everyone's thoughts out there, like in a nice way where everyone could relate to and things like that. Because I'm still frustrated with it. Like I like my thing of like being a prequel, even the stuff that we've been seeing now, the week after the movies come out, and all the interviews with of David Quep saying, "Oh, he didn't know what to do with dinosaurs on the mainland and stuff like that." You're like, you fucking right? Like, what do you
It
mean?
might not be the way you wanted to take it, but I'm sure it wouldn't have been that hard to come up
Yeah,
with any sort of story,
yeah,
Here's
like
the thing. I understand that, like, from it's my franchise. I want it to be good, but like after I was thinking the same for Jurassic World, and I was like, I'll give it a pass because I understand the Hollywood system, and they had to kind of reboot it in a way, and they had to go back to the part. Even though I didn't agree with it, I was like, I get it. Maybe the next one will be what we wanted, and then it wasn't. And then Dominion was just a mess, and I just think like. I'm not going to give them a pass anymore, because why should I? There's only a few good ones in this franchise. We should be, as I said in the previous pod, we should be striving for them to be a lot better. And I do understand, like, it's our franchise. We should want it to be. We should support them no matter what. And I think it's just that's a poor way to look at it, because that every movie should stand on its own. Like you shouldn't view it. Even though it's hard to, you shouldn't view it as like, oh, it's part of this big wider story. It's like, yeah, but you should be able to just like be like, oh, I'm just going to put Dominion on, and should be able to watch it as one. And you can't really, because a lot of it won't make sense, and it's a messy shit movie, in my opinion. So I don't know. I feel like Rebirth should have stood on its own.
At least, I mean, I would argue to a degree it kind of does stand apart from the rest of the films. Like
Dominion or
I know Rebirth, like,
Okay, yeah,
and it's a lot more self-contained.
Yes,
but
definitely.
almost to its detriment that it feels weirdly orphaned from the rest of the franchise, which is why I think some of the reviews are like, well, this is now just a B, monster movie. It's not a Jurassic movie. It's got a Jurassic skin over the top of it.
Yeah. They've sort of done what they never intended to do, and it's
Mm.
funny because Spielberg's still calling a lot of the shots, but he was always the one in interviews about Jurassic and Lost World and JP3 being like, we never want these to be monster movies, they're animal movie and stuff, and it's like apparently he's calling a lot of these shots where it's like put the monster in it.
I've heard that a lot as well, that he's still, I think, making very top level decisions, which makes you wonder if being so far removed isn't often the best position to be in to be making these calls. Like there was that great article Gareth did with, I want to say Variety, but don't quote me on that, where he talked about all the ideas and stuff that Spielberg nixed. That was like, oh, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Like we all watched the film and said, oh, the animated film in the museum was like so much better than those titles at the beginning. Why didn't they do that? And then it turned out they were going to do that as the opening with Mr. DNA explaining, in a in-universe way. And I'm like, I'd love that. That'd have been great for me. That would have been perfect.
If handled correctly, for sure. Like the little Mr. DNA, I don't know what you want to call it, like cameo in Jurassic World. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's Mr. DNA!" Like it worked because it wasn't thrown in your face, and I think that intro scene in Rebirth does work. Not the titles, not that, but
but the
as
animated.
much as I'm for the title. Like I'm all for like a movie that sets you up with a couple titles at the beginning. You're like, it's been 7 years since then. I'm like, oh, okay,
I think it's more the fact
didn't do it right.
Yeah, it's a huge shift, and it's a shift that people fucking hate. That also just didn't need to happen. It's just so fucking unnecessary to nuke all the setup. And you go back and watch Dominion now, where the last 3 minutes are like setting up this world of dinosaurs. You got that great silhouette shot in the Sahara somewhere, I'm guessing, with the
Triceratops.
I don't think they're Triceratops.
No, the Sinoceratops, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say Styracosaurus, but yeah, Sinoceratops.
Yeah, it was with
sense.
the elephants.
And the mix. This is the other thing that you forget, that the early Jurassic World films did better. The mixing of species, we don't get that in Rebirth at all. They're all very isolated. Like the only time I think we see any two species together is probably when the Mutodon kills the raptor. I can't think of any other moment in the film, unless you count, Dolores being present.
Maybe
and the
Rex,
Rex,
but the T-Rex, like it disappears before the T-Rex is even.
The Pteranodon flying over the Rex as well before the boat scene, like that was it as well. Before the river raft scene.
I've seen a lot of people describe Rebirth as a series of short films, and I kind of fully understand that. The T-Rex river raft sequence is the best, arguably the best part of the movie, but it feels like a short film. It feels like a beginning, middle, end to that actual story, and that would be a great little Jurassic short. And I think the rest of the movie, some people have been saying like it just feels like sort of like one sequence, then another sequence, then another sequence. It doesn't quite tie together.
Yeah.
And I do really understand that, because it does feel like almost rushed in a way of like, now we need this, now we need that. And it's kind of hard to say, but like, it doesn't feel like a full-on movie. It's weird. I don't know. It feels strange.
I hope we'll hear more about it in over the next year, through the home release, etc. But I think it is the rush production, because I spoke to someone, and I don't want to use other people's words, but I spoke to someone the other day who'd read the screenplay, early last year. And they turned around and said, from the moment they read it, they were like, no, I love the direction they're taking. This feels like a really good idea. It is a new idea. It was the studio really pushed it as a reboot, but in the sense that studios see reboots as not like wiping out everything before it, but just changing the direction. And then they said when they saw the film, it didn't feel like that screenplay.
Interesting. Yeah, we know that a lot was sort of like chopped around, and Gareth gave that interview about how Duncan was indeed supposed to die at the end, and you're just like, oh my god, he should have, like, that should have been him pushing back, seriously. Like, why would he survive? That makes no sense to his character, to the story.
I agree if his thread had been a bit more prominent through the film, like if we started with him in a place where, like from that first instance where he's like, no, we're going to go rescue that family. Let's say he'd kind of not stuck up for himself there and just gone with what Krebs was saying. And then we just build it from there to there to there through the film where he's finally like, no, I'm going to do what feels right to me. Fuck all of you.
Yeah.
Well, the week after Yeah, sorry, Alex.
No, go on, go on.
No, because I won't name this person, but the
Aziz.
no,
Name and
no,
shame.
the aftermath of Rebirth has been really interesting, especially on Twitter. One of the people that work on Chaos Theory, their perspective
Yeah.
on Rebirth was very wow. Like the fact they said that, all they got told when writing Chaos Theory was just keep it continuing and aligning with Dominion. They
Mm.
weren't told about Rebirth, and from what they said, and I quote, I will say the setup of Rebirth feels like a very spiteful towards the rest of the Jurassic World franchise for no reason. That is what they tweeted. And
I
someone
would,
like,
yeah, I saw that tweet too from the Chaos Theory person, and I get it. But I don't feel like it was for no reason. I think it's because the studio were aware of where things were going and the audience perception of Dominion and stuff. And
yeah,
I don't know if it was even really geared. I know they obviously wanted to make. I think Kep did say one thing that did resonate with me, that in the first three films, the reason the dinosaurs feel so special is because there's only one place in the world you could go see them. It's very
yeah,
isolated,
yeah,
and that I get it. I really do get it, but it felt like it was just a really weak narrative reason. They're like, if we're going to say we've got to go to this place to get these samples, it needs to be one of the very few places you can see dinosaurs anymore. Otherwise, people will go, oh, but surely you could go here, or Biosin Valley, or
yeah,
go
yeah,
to Central Park. There's a Titanosaur there, I'm sure.
yeah.
Or,
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. It's tough. It's really tough because, as you mentioned before, there was David kept saying, I had no idea what stories to tell post Dominion. And that's just such a wild thing to say
Mm.
because every, even ideas that David kept worked on back in the day were like mainland Jurassic stories. You do know where it could have gone. And it was an opportunity to pick an isolated spot in the world where it's not like, oh, an Apatosaurus or whatever the fuck it was walking through a construction site. It's like, oh, something Colin said during his run of these movies was like, imagine a massive forest that you don't go in anymore because there's raptors in there, kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, that's a fucking story right there.
Yeah.
Like
The
somebody,
impact on the world.
the impact on the world, but not
Mm.
from a like, ooh, dinosaurs running around our cities. Like nobody wants that. They did it in the Lost World. It worked for that.
Because why would
Don't
the
need it again.
dinosaurs congregate in cities? It's like
Exactly. It
they
makes
wouldn't.
no
There's
sense.
nothing there for them. There's no food. I mean, maybe they're carnivores, but even then, like it just feels like weak sauce.
Absolutely. It's just like they don't know where they could have taken it, but fans and general audiences know exactly where they could have taken it. There's so
Mm.
many different stories to tell. Even going back to what about like rural Costa Rica, something that could have happened in
Mm.
JP3 and something that was planned for JP4. Like, why not post Dominion?
Especially when you go back and read the novels, it really feels like that's one of the most exciting parts they've overlooked. I love the setup in JP where nobody just there's little bit things being drip fed. You have Grant and Sattler getting visited by someone from the is it the CIA or
Something like that, an agency,
and
eh?
what they've heard and the bits and pieces there, and they like receive some blueprints that don't make a hell of a lot of sense for the park as kind of some marketing material. And then in the Lost World, the stuff where they bring Marty, I'm going to say his name wrong, Gutierrez.
Gutierrez.
Gutierrez, there we go. They bring him back alongside again. I think some people from a government agency, and they encounter a dino corpse and then an actual dinosaur
Yeah.
in Costa Rica. And the way it kind of, I love as well Levine buying old InGen tech and going through the hard drives to try and find out more
Yes.
about the
Yes.
existence of Site B. And I think that could have
Oh,
been
dude,
really
don't.
good
That's like the
for
long. Oh,
for
yeah.
for Rebirth. Let's say nobody knew about this island. It was all like maybe rumors or something like that, and picking it apart a thread at a time. Like let's say they were going to this place where they didn't think they were going to find living specimens. They thought it was going to be like an archive or something like
Yeah,
that, and to then
yeah.
flip it on its head, and it's like, oh no, this is like it's Dr. Frankenstein's lab with they should have really
Yeah.
doubled
Which
down on
made no
it.
sense as well because there was that whole like, why did it actually collapse the lab? Because the D-Rex doesn't
It was
escape.
secure. Yeah, it is. It's
It got back
if they
locked
were going
in
to
in
do
there.
it this way, when Duncan and Loomis come to the lab, they
Yeah.
should have had like they accidentally activate a security recording from then or something that shows the full facility collapse, like, okay, then it got out and it's chasing people across the island and absolutely murking them, and they're like, oh, what the fuck's this thing? But there's no,
There's
the
no
last we see
logic.
of it, it's secure behind that big fucking door. Like,
Yeah, and the facility's back up and running. It's like it doesn't actually show you enough to know how
No.
it collapsed. And I see a lot of comments, people being like, "Well, it just they just left it, they abandoned it." It's like who,
why?
why,
There
and
was no
who?
need.
Like
There's the,
And then
Yeah,
Doctor Wu at the end of Dominion just frolicking in his cardigan, knowing that this island's there and stuff like that.
it's weird to
Pretty-
watch like Jurassic World now and be like, okay, but 5 years before this,
Yeah,
yeah, there was
like
a
that.
like,
T-Rex living on.
That's
Yeah,
the first thing. I walked out of my second screening, and I watched it for the third time yesterday in 4DX. But I walked out and I was just like, that Doctor Wu scene, like, it's just funny now. Like that he's like, oh yeah, I just saved the day, but hang on, I made this fucked up thing over here.
yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm just going,
nobody
yeah,
ask about
yeah,
that other island. Okay,
yeah.
okay, we're all good. Nobody.
We
I
don't
just
talk
redeemed
about that
myself,
one.
guys. I just redeemed myself.
We've been getting more and more glimpses of stuff that got cut from the film, a few more production stills here and there, and a few more of the lab. And something I want to touch on: why, when they're making all these species, the only real physical representation of the mutations, other than what we see with the mutadons and the D-Rex, why do they all have two heads? Why did that keep happening? Why is there a
Yeah,
a two-headed trike, a two-headed mutadon?
Brachiosaurus as
And
well.
yeah, the Brachiosaurus. Why
Yeah,
is there like what the? Why did that keep happening?
I don't know, Godzilla, Hydra, that like that dragon with three head
Yeah,
thing, whatever. I don't know. Like they're trying to make a Brachiosaurus like that.
I have a couple points to make. I just took some notes. But one thing, Alex, you've been finding a lot of behind the scenes material. You've been finding concept art and things like that. Some incredible stuff. And I will say, for the first time, I said this in the group, but for the first time ever in a Jurassic World movie, the concept art is not as good as the movie. The movie actually visually like stands
Yeah,
out from the concept art, whereas all the concept art for World, Fallen Kingdom of Dominion was so much better than the movie made it look.
yeah.
Which is impressive for Gareth. But you've been finding some incredible stuff, including some things that reveal more about this lab. And obviously I won't go into the details, but like it's sad that we didn't get more of the lab, because from a lore perspective, which is something the fans really care about, it did end up ticking a lot of boxes and sort of like being what we wanted it to be. And it's crazy that the movie sort of skirted around all that, and you don't
Yeah.
have any real idea about where this lab is, like what's it for, like it's a very strange
It's a weird position to be in to after a film. I mean, to be fair, we've been here before. I still can't explain Maisie's story to people because it doesn't make any fucking sense. There's just no way
the
to.
clone girl, the dino girl.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
Dominion really fucked that up. But
Well,
yeah,
with that stupid video at the end, where I'm your mum holding the child, and I'm on site B. What do you mean you're on site B?
In
What the fuck is
1986
going
as
on?
well.
Yeah, well, what is
Yeah.
going on? I'm your mother, and you're just
Yeah.
like me. I don't know. I didn't like any of that, but whatever. People do.
Hey, at least we got sauna out of it.
And the animatronic dinosaur that she was
Microceratops
interacting with, but it was like terrible.
I'm pretty sure it was just a hand puppet. To be
Yeah,
fair, I
it
don't
did not move. It didn't look.
Yeah,
like,
just go shaking its head like.
yeah,
that's
it
what
was just
doing.
cringy, man. It was just,
Ironically, that little sequence, the first couple shots we see around the lab feel very of the era VHS. I actually thought they did a good job with that.
yeah,
And then when it cuts to the static angle of Maisie, it's just like, no, I don't buy it no more. I'm out.
yeah.
done.
When she's like the mum's recording the video log and stuff, I'm just like, what is happening? This is a weird move.
Well, I remember like the set photos, or like I don't know, leading up to Dominion with like the briefcase in the lab and stuff like that, and we thought that we're gonna like actually get all sauna and things like that, and we just
Oh
never
yeah,
saw.
yeah. Colin actually
any-
sent that picture to
Yeah.
Big Site B case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like everything like that.
the big crate.
Yeah, and
InGen logo.
yeah,
It
and
wasn't
and
really part of the movie.
No.
it was just
He-
random.
he
Like,
did
oh
the
yeah,
thing-
we just take it from sauna. We just take diners from there. No biggie.
Colin did the thing where he did with the like East Dock sign and stuff, where he was like East Dock sign in both.
You know what I realized
Wasn't even in the
again
fucking movie.
with Rebirth? They, even though technically it wasn't the East Dock sign, they fucking took the dock sign from us again. The little boat icon from JP. This is the third film now where we've seen set pics of it, and then it wasn't in the fucking film.
Oh my god, how dare they?
What-
Listen, just going back to something you said before, Alex.
Sure.
post Dominion, what can you do with the movie? And then we said, the Costa Rica story is still prime, ready to be told, and that even aligns with the sort of setup they've given in Rebirth. Where it's like the dinosaurs can't survive in these cold climates, so they've all gone to the equator. Where's the equator? Like, what country's on the equator? Costa fucking Rica. Like, you could have literally told that story. Like, this country's been decimated because all the dinosaurs ended up coming up and down, like, towards that country. The other thing is what you said about the Lost World novel. To me, that's always been what I wanted out of Jurassic. It's not like, oh, they're out in the world now. They're this still a mystery. They're still like, do they exist? Like, some people saw them in San Diego in '97, but people find that very hard to believe. In that book, you've got, is it Levine, who's got the map in his apartment of like the world map, and he's trying to identify where this island is, and like he's like going conspiracy with it all. And like that's to me is like such the cool aspect of it. InGen failed, the experiments failed. They left shop. People went back in 2001 to the island, and it was just this abandoned hellhole full of dinosaurs that are still thriving. Life finds a way. That's kind of should have been where the story continued. Like, that mystery, they lost that mystery immediately of like, they do exist, but it's in a lost world kind of thing. And I know the franchise has to evolve, but by the time the first Jurassic World, we're told that people are sort of getting tired of dinosaurs. And I'm like, the audience wasn't ready for that jump at all.
No. Yeah, it was a huge... It's just not relevant. It doesn't resonate with us. We're not tired. Like...
No, the general audience isn't tired either, because the box office proves that. People want dinosaur movies, and like, I don't know where this rhetoric seems to still exist from. It's strange.
Yeah, because the second weekend has done well, like box office numbers, like domestically in America, it's done.
Yeah, on the box office numbers, something that really throws me off is quite often we get them reported for I think last week we had Sunday's numbers, and it was like 4:00 in the afternoon here, which means it was, in some of the US still the morning. I'm like, how have we got the numbers already when like people might still get up this evening and be like, oh, I'm going to go to the cinema and book their tickets there. I know that doesn't happen so much anymore in the UK, especially. Like, it's cheaper to buy your tickets to pre-book than it is to actually just rock up and like, we don't have box offices anymore. You just maybe have a machine and that's it. But how is it that we're getting them before the day is over?
It is funny that I said this jokingly, but in the chat, like, I wonder how much these numbers they just inflate and make up. And as much as obviously they're not doing that, sometimes you do wonder, like, are they just making estimates?
Yeah.
Are they just sort of like splicing it together? But it seems to be doing really well. Our own box office guru Josh has been very on it with the numbers, and it seems to be doing very well, especially compared to Superman and when's Fantastic Four out?
Probably next week, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's like around the 20-something of July.
It feels like this was a very dangerous time to release a film, like, against 3 summer tentpoles, and it's holding up really, really well. It's doing really well, all considered.
I think Caleb made the point. Is Jurassic almost stands the test of time. Like, it stands aside from all these other franchises. As much as I complain about it, like, oh, it feels like a Marvel franchise, which it does at times. It's very much its own thing. Whereas Fantastic Four and Superman, I'd put in the same exact category. It's like they're just superhero movies, aren't they? Like, it's just the same shit. And I think Jurassic sort of stands aside from that, because at least it's something else. At least it's something different. It's just a shame where it's a shame where cinema has gone, really, because it's only those kind of movies that get made now. And you got to look for like studios like Neon or A24, like distributor, to actually find quote unquote independent movies that tell a story without $100 billion budgets for visual effects. It's a shame. I've definitely gone down a bunch of
monies
route
for marketing, and then ruin the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, marketing costs these days are a bit insane. Like, I do get there's a lot of stuff you don't, you've got physical print media still left, right, and center. You've got all your EPK stuff on set that you need to do, and then promotional stuff, running up to and after the film's released, wining and dining people, taking your cast out globally. I'd love to see what the world tour cost for Rebirth. I actually thought it was a really good idea when it started, but I do think by the end it had kind of run out of steam a little bit.
The
'Cause
Rebirth marketing, you mean?
yeah, the world like premiere tour they did starting in London and then
How many
going.
fucking
to
premieres did
Shanghai.
they have, man?
The like the
Christ.
big the I don't want to say the official ones, but the big ones. I think 5 or maybe 6.
I think
It
it
was
was
too
5.
much, man. It was a vanity show at the end of the day. It
Yeah,
was just the cast getting to
you
flaunt their stuff, and it was getting a bit tiring.
yeah. The London was really fun. They created a lot of material for it. I really rated that. In contrast, the New York felt quite fakey, and I didn't enjoy it quite as much. And I
Right.
think if you're going to do something like that, you've got to show something different everywhere you go. And some of the ones in the middle, they just didn't even really try. They only did the 2 live streams at the beginning and end.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do wonder, like, why are they doing so many? Like, what was the actual purpose? Because they knew the movie was going to do pretty well, and they just like, is it just a vanity show at that point? They're just like, let's shop it right. It's the 7th movie in a franchise, for God's sake. You know, it's like, are they really? Did they really need this many premieres? Like, it just seemed I don't know. It just seemed odd to me. But then I'm
I
not.
mean, I thought it was
I'm
odd to release 2 weeks in America before the rest of the world, but
Yeah.
Yeah, you had the pre-release that like loads of people saw it, and then you were like,
Yeah.
"Now it's the world premiere." It's like, what are you
yeah.
talking about?
And like the thing as well, because I know some people went to the New York premiere, and when we're talking to some of the people that went, I was asking, I was like, so do they have security, like, or anything like that? And I literally got told that people were on their phones, like during the movie, getting told to shut up. And the Australian premiere, you know, they have security walking up and down throughout the movie. They have security see you put your phones in the Ziploc bags and stuff like that because like it makes a loud noise when you open it during the movie and things like that. So like
Oh, that's
if
great.
something
Yeah,
happens like that, so yeah, like every
The cunt
premiere
in
I've
row
gone,
5 is on his
yeah,
phone.
like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like I think something did happen because like a red light started going off on someone's seat during my rebirth
Dude, I
thing, and
was
then
gonna say that's what they should do in normal theaters now. Is that if somebody
yeah,
goes on their phone, shine a spotlight at that person
yeah.
until they
So
turn their
that's
phone off.
so
That
But
would be
then,
great. I would love that.
yeah,
I'm not sure if
pause the
that's what
movie.
happened, but yeah, because like the security guys were like dressed in black, so you just see a dude walk over to this row and then grab someone, and then I never saw them again. So
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
You
Yeah,
know,
their
that's
family have
what
never seen them
happened
again either.
to me when I went and saw Deadpool last year. We went to a midnight release, and about 20 minutes into the film, it paused, and I thought it was because he was about to do like a third wall break voiceover.
yeah,
And then a member of staff came in and said, like, "Oh, really sorry, we just need to resolve a situation," thinking it was a technical issue.
yeah.
And then all these police come in, storm up the sides to the middle row, and arrest 4 guys. And we were kind of we had to wait for half an hour while they searched their seats and handcuffed these guys and took them away. It was a really weird experience.
That's hilarious. What did they do?
No idea. They wouldn't tell us. Like people kept asking. They were like, "Oh, were they filming?" And apparently they were, but that wasn't the reason. And I couldn't tell you.
That's so funny. Yeah, there's speaking of pirated movies, there's a couple I haven't downloaded any yet, being the keyword there. But there's a couple movies of Rebirth, couple versions of Rebirth on the Pirate Bay. And I'm not sure if people, but it's not worth it. It's all cam.
What's
So
coming out
I don't
for the
know.
I
rest of the
think
month,
The type of
anyways?
movie
cam
that can watch
recordings are such a less. Nobody cares as much as they used to because it's
Yeah.
going to be out on digital in
In
like a
August.
month.
It's
Yeah,
a
like
horrible way to watch a movie too.
Yeah.
Like, not a fun way. I miss it. I miss when you used to get movies uploaded to torrent sites that were screeners on DVD sent to somebody to review the movie, and like every 10 minutes it would come up
Their
with
name,
their
yeah,
name and like
or the
this is
studio.
a screener movie. Do not distribute it. This I'm like, great. Thanks for letting me watch Sicario. No, it wasn't Sicario, but you know what I mean. It's yeah, that was always really funny. I guess before we wrap up, Rebirth 2, anyone? When we getting Rebirth 2?
I'd
The
say before the
D-Rex
end of the year.
returns.
The Direx. The
D-Rex.
Have you seen
Doctor
it?
X.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, have
you
you
know, here's
seen
another
the
thing.
photo?
The winged
There's a photo of
mutants, can't they just fly off the island? Are they not?
Well, the pteranodons never left. Well, until they did.
And the Cat Sea though.
Lost
But
World. Yeah, and the cats. What's the deal there? Were they in an aviary or were they just always loose?
just
It's so stupid, man.
like the Aztec vibe ruins of their home. Oh, I don't want to leave this place.
Yeah,
I
why
don't
would
want
the cats can make huge difference? Why haven't the cats gone to like Barbados and slaughtered?
Well, they're
loads
in
of
the
people?
city in
Tourists?
Dominion. They like
Yeah,
had
they were
nests
in, they
on
were
like
in the One World
skyscrapers and
Trade Center at the beginning of Dominion.
just chilling.
Yeah, true, they were, but then all the dinosaurs died, right, and moved to to warmer climates.
But
Why
not Billy
would
the Brontosaurus.
why?
Yeah, not
Yeah, yeah.
Billy.
Why wouldn't the Quetzalcoatlus that lives on Isla, what's it called? Isla.
Isle Saint Hubert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't that, occasionally go to the other islands to whip up some tourists and stuff? It's in the
I guess
Caribbean, right?
it's 200 miles away, 200 plus miles away from the mainland. I don't know how much that then equates to some of the other Caribbean islands, but
Yeah, but
how far
you look at
can
how
they
big the
fly?
Quetzalcoatlus is.
That's true. Massive wingspan.
Surely that bitch
They
can just
compared it to a
glide
jet or a plane or
on the
some
jet
shit.
streams. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
An
I
F
don't know.
something. I don't know.
It's short sighted. The whole thing is quite short sighted, I think, and the setup for Rebirth is just odd. And I get it, right? They were always saying back after JP3, they were like, we can't do the islands anymore. We have to get away from the islands because it's just the same thing over and over. They did 3 movies where they tried to get away from an island,
Mm.
arguably failed. And now they're like, we can't do Jurassic without an island. It's got to be a jungle island. And I'm like, that's a complete 180 cap because it's
And
strange.
then
I
to
don't
not
I don't
use
know.
sonar.
I'm not quite sure why they. I love David Cap, but I'm not quite sure why they went with him. If he didn't want to write JP3 because he didn't have any ideas,
Mm.
why is he coming back for the 7th? And also saying, adding on to that, I don't know what to do after Dominion, so I'm going to go back and do an island movie. It's like, what is going on?
I really want to know the 9
They
commandments.
body swap David Cap. It's a different David Cap. That's the only explanation.
Because we only got a few commandments from his 9 that he said about the movie in the article that came out 2 months before the movie. He talked about his 9 commandments.
Very
And
keen to
we
know what
only
those
got like
are.
4
Yeah.
or something
Yeah,
like
what,
that.
I'm
No,
trying to
retcons was
think of
one
the
of them.
film and what would make.
That was one of the commandments. Though,
Yeah.
said no retcons. It was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like technically the film makes no retcons by
They played it
committing to
safe.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Backing themselves into a corner.
It's not
Mm.
retconning. It just doesn't make a lot of sense because you look at. So then you're like, okay, so maybe they went to this. InGen went to this island after Site B collapsed. Maybe that's like what they're trying to get
Yeah,
at. Like
that
the
would be
storm
fine.
kicked them out. They let the dinosaurs free, and they were like, let's set up shop somewhere else. Like for some reason. Is that the sort of explanation? It is so hollow with its.
I think again, I'm almost certain that in his original script, this had nothing to do with Jurassic World at all. It was a Jurassic Park site, which is why literally all the dialogue in the film still seems to tie to that. And I don't think they weren't going to be hybrids at all. I think they were going to just be mutated dinosaurs. They were going to double down that like this is the first time we cloned the genomes, and these are the fucked up results that came out, and we've just left them here. So it was going to be 30 years on, all these fucked up things still lumbering around. And then obviously somebody said like, no, it needs to tie to the world movies, which is why they've then opened it up to be like, oh no, we were pursuing hybrids and this and that. And it becomes so muddied for not committing to anything.
Yeah. I think a lot of fans, no matter what spectrum you're on, in terms of like, oh, I wanted it to be more like Park, or I love Dominion, I wanted it to continue that story. I think everybody kind of agrees that Rebirth is in it. It puts itself in a very weird position, and like one of the main things I still can't get over is the worst of the worst. I know the line was cut from the movie, but like that's the premise, right? The worst of the worst, and these ones are the ones that were too dangerous for the theme park, and they were ugly, and they didn't want. And you got fucking aqualops running around like little. Befriends a child. It's like, is this really the worst of the worst? Like, what?
Yeah.
Maybe she's secretly really intelligent, and her whole plan was to just find a way off the island, and she did that. She's in the boat at the end. She got away.
Oh, it's so dumb. I don't know.
Gareth did an interview that I thought was really interesting, where he says, "Well, what it really is you're not." Dolores isn't one Aqualops. Throughout the film, you're seeing 3 or 4 where like she's gone away and told people like there's a little girl giving out candy to go and check this out, and they just keep going, and that just made me chuckle so much.
That's funny.
So she just took like the 4th one that she saw. She took that one home and like, oh, okay. And that one will be the one that will bite her and rebirth too, and then it will start the virus.
Whole thing was weird. It didn't feel in the same.
That's how my second one will go.
It didn't feel in the same way as like the Lost World, where they're traversing across a dangerous island that's quite big. And
no.
It just felt like scene by scene by scene. Some minute they're here, then they're there, then they're there. And you made a good point, Alex, on the last part. It's like after they capture the land dinosaurs' DNA, the Brachiosaurus. What was it? Fucking Titanosaurus.
Yeah.
you don't see what happens to them, but we know a whole night has passed, and then they're just at
No,
the
it's before that scene. They we see the family at night, and the next scene is them at the our other
oh,
group entering the long grass, and
that's
it's
right,
like
arriving in the
that's
long
really
grass.
really
Yeah,
weird. It's the
Yeah.
same with the end of the
yeah,
film, and I've come to realize it. They arrive at the compound just as the sun is setting. It's
Yeah.
still
It's
sort
dusk.
of dusk.
Yeah.
As they leave the island on the boat, the sun is then
Sunrise.
rising,
Yeah.
yeah,
so they get through a whole night. Um, in the third
yeah.
act, but it's only about 10 minutes of film.
Yeah, not even.
Um,
It's strange, isn't it? And one of the things they said, like you don't want to catch the predators. Let's say the predators that hunt these big dinosaurs or something, right? Don't they say something about that? I
Yeah,
can't
they
remember.
say
Oh, when
that
they enter the field, yeah, yeah,
carnivores.
yeah.
When they
Yeah.
enter the field, yeah, you don't want to hang around or whatever he says. But then nothing ever comes of it.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
like that.
I'd
It's the
have,
long grass, for God's sake. You should have
I'd
had
have,
raptors.
I'd have really loved if they were going to do anything at all. As soon as the little, as soon as they shot it with the dart thing, just to have triggered a stampede or something to show the danger of herbivores as well, especially at that scale.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Or
that I
someone
would have
getting
certainly.
whipped somewhere, like, you know what I
Oh my!
mean?
Like bisected by the
Yeah,
tail.
like just like boom, and then just get flung back, and then just like, yeah,
Yeah.
start something. That's what I was hoping to see. Just, yeah, aggressive herbivores and shit. I like they really
Mm.
missed the mark on that
If
because
they wanted a sad scene there, like perhaps we could have seen like the consequence of like a carnivores on the game trail, something had downed a titanosaur that was dying, and they take their sample from that. But it's quite a sad
Ooh, yeah,
moment.
that's
I
brutal.
know it kind of
yeah,
touches a bit on Jurassic World with the Apatosaurus there, but
Yeah.
it just feels like it really wouldn't have been that hard to do a bit more. Um,
It was
but
too easy. It was way too easy for them to
mm,
capture that DNA, and it was just an excuse to be like, "Here's a long neck scene. Remember the
yeah.
theme from Jurassic Park?" And then they
mm.
just play the theme, and you're just like, "Okay, great. You're
There's a,
telling me
there's
how to feel rather than letting me experience it."
I'm coming around to the music a lot more now, listening to the score over and
Mm,
over. There's certain bits, the kind of the woodwindy InGen theme. It plays in the opening. It plays when they discover the raft shed, and it plays in the lab at the end. I like that. With the classic Jurassic themes, there's this weird. People don't watch the original film and see what they were really used for. So bringing back the kind of the triumphant brass theme, they do that over a plane arriving in um,
Senegal.
Suriname.
Oh,
Yeah,
Suriname. That's it.
Senegal.
Yeah.
And like they've done it because they're like, oh, because it always plays over things flying. It's a flying theme. It's not. Go back to Jurassic Park. It's the park theme. It
Yeah.
plays when they arrive at the island. It plays when they go through the gates.
Yeah.
It plays when Muldoon picks up a shotgun for some reason. But again, I think it's kind of highlighting the infrastructure of the park. It
Yeah.
plays when the system comes back online at the end. It's the Jurassic Park theme. So
Yeah.
why use it for flying? It's not what it's for. Same with the dinosaur theme. It was a nice use, but it's kind of got a bit of motion to it in a very static scene. When we see it for the first time, the brachiosaurs lumbering out of the trees, and the theme kind of carries with that. It's almost representing its first steps on screen. And to see it with the titanosaurs just sort of standing there, it didn't really work for me.
Yeah.
so you wanted to see them?
I mean, that would have been something new. It would have been something new. I did like that they were a little amorous. That was
Yeah.
people are saying like they like that the dinosaurs in Rebirth act like animals, and I don't disagree. The T-Rex was
Mm.
great. I even thought the cat's protecting its nest was good.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
Kincaid throwing the hammer at it and hitting it in the head. But again, I just feel like they're all weirdly isolated. We don't really let them mix. It's a lot of like cameo appearances. The compy just
Yeah,
popping up in the pond.
The Ankylosaurus
Um,
as well.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I don't mind that one for some reason. I don't know why that doesn't bother me. They're just the surprise of it.
Yeah,
It's a pity it
like
doesn't come back in some way.
yeah,
But
like I think I would have been fine with that, like because it like when you look at it, like it makes sense, like it just goes on to the middle of the road. But like the fact that we only saw a Tyrannosaurus and then a Parasaurolophus and then the Equilops as a herbivore
Mm.
and not really anything else, and like it was just pretty like standard, like the
There's a
fact.
couple of weird small lizard-like dinosaurs that I still there's
Oh,
one
Oh
in the
yeah, the
swamp
amphibious
and
ones,
one on a
yeah.
tree.
I think they missed the trick with the compies for sure, because that was one of the best aspects of the Lost World,
They're
is showing how
so good,
crazy
and
filthy
they're
And the
so
new
afraid to
designs of
do them
them in this
again.
movie as well, like the red, I liked it.
I
Those are
don't
new
know if I
as well.
like. They remind me of a. Do you guys have Tango Ice Blasts in Australia?
Tango
They'll do
Ice
you a
Blast.
mix where it's like red at the top and blue at the bottom, and
That's
that's what I
true.
see
Yeah,
when I
yeah,
look at the
yeah.
compy.
Yeah, okay. I think we
It
do
was an
have, but I
odd
don't know what they're
choice
called.
to be like, yeah, this was too ugly for the park. I have a feeling if the Jurassic World Park were like, we've got red compies now, that's a whole like
Yeah,
that I
Yeah,
don't think people would be bored of that. That sounds pretty fun.
yeah.
Anyway, uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where this movie's. I don't know what's going to happen next. We'll see. I don't think it set itself up for sequels very well, but
no, it didn't.
No, it
that's
should have been a
maybe a good
prequel.
thing.
That's
Maybe that.
that's what it should have been.
Well,
And
it definitely is. It feels more of a standalone piece, which is great, and we can all attest that is a good positive thing. It will
Yeah,
make them think twice about the sequel and how they can actually do that effectively, and I think that's what we need. We need a smart idea if they're going to do another one, which isn't an if, it's just when at this point. So
I think it would be really worth taking a look. Don't keep doing. I mean, in narrative terms, don't keep doing the same thing. But like, let's not just announce another film. Let's look at the other ways the franchise can grow. And the fact that we're still not touching on television feels like a mistake. I do think there's room for a really good prequel, but it's finding the right story and taking it in the right direction. Like, I think this need to try and propel ourselves forward is where we're running into it. Take a bit more time with it. We really thought we were going to take a break after Dominion, and the fact that we didn't, you know, I think this film would have benefited from another year for sure.
yeah, 100%.
yeah,
Like I said before, everybody kind of agrees it does feel a little bit rushed. So
so the
it's
ending,
almost
like you
like
can't. Yeah,
There
it's a
is no
shame.
ending. The film didn't end;
yeah,
it just
you can't.
left.
It
If
did
you're
a
saying like it doesn't feel
JP3. It
rushed,
just had a kind of rushed third act, and then it just like there it is. They escaped. They got off. It's even worse in Rebirth though, because it's just like they're just like sailing away. Right, bye.
yeah,
That was
in a
fun.
little
Did
in
it?
a little rib as well. Like those things aren't meant to go 200 miles. So I don't
No.
know. I don't think any of them made it. I think they're all dead.
Hopefully, yeah,
The
yeah.
boat ran out of gas and they're
most
dead.
people got them at the
The
end.
Mosasaurus got them.
Yeah, with the Moser, yeah, it came back. I mean, the fact that the Spinos or the Moser, I did think like when we were up in the facility at the end, that little reservoir with the helipad in, I there might have been some way to bring the Moser back there that could have been quite cool, but
Then you risk it being similar to the end of Jurassic World, where it just all
Yeah, the
comes out,
Marvel
grabs
exactly.
them.
Or perhaps if they had failed to get a specimen from it, and they're like, we're not going to be able to get it in the open ocean, we need to trap it somewhere. That could have been cool.
That would have been cool, yeah,
Yeah,
because then they just like shit. The first mission didn't work, but they've
yeah,
crash landed on the island now. Now they've still got to try and get the other samples. The whole movie, you're like, how are they going to get the motor? Yeah, that actually could have worked really well.
yeah.
That would have padded out the third act as well. Maybe the third act was trying to get the motor sample before they leave.
Yeah, yeah.
So many ways to
They
potentially
turn the power
work
back
this
on,
movie.
accidentally release the D-Rex that is still in captivity or in stasis. You know, it's not been
yeah. Well,
stumbling around all this time.
I remember during the first trailer, and I remember the podcast that we did, and I saw the pipes and how there was like steam coming off it. I was like, we're getting Camp Cretaceous season 3. Like, they're
Yeah,
gonna unfreeze this mutant, like the Scorpius. Binga banga boom, team's gonna flick on power. It's gonna like short circuit, something like that, awaken it. Things go to shit. That's where I thought it was going, and then like what you guys were saying before that is just like not really any purpose or answer of like how it's just there.
Yeah,
is it just me, or did the power only come back on at the end of the film to justify why the electric vehicle was charged? Is that, and
Yeah,
even then,
yeah,
it didn't really need to be driving it, given it wasn't necessary to drive the plot forward. It was just another
no,
thing added in.
yeah,
A fun little tidbit that I learned the other day: when they filmed in Thailand, they hadn't written in that the vehicles were electric. It actually says diesel on the side and has a different fuel clap. And then so they pivoted when they built the gas station. So in the scenes shot in the UK, it's then an electric vehicle. It doesn't say diesel anymore. So when you go back and watch the film now, you'll see the where Krebs gets the key out. It
yeah.
swaps sides of the vehicle really
Oh,
randomly.
that is the most random thing I've ever heard. That's
Yeah,
probably something to do with that greener light thing that they tied with. Right? Maybe
it could well be.
Universal's
Yeah.
greener light were like, no, it needs to be an EV car, and they were like, shit. When is this movie
I
set?
like that for the facility, like that. You know,
Yeah,
it was
it's
much
always
more,
made sense. Electric
yeah.
vehicles in a
But then they
Jurassic.
threw in a sound effect of an engine starting, so
Yeah. It's a hybrid. All right, guys, I gotta run, but thanks for joining this podcast. We had a great interview with Luke. Very excited for Primitive War. For everybody out there listening, if you're still listening, thank you for joining us on the InGeneral podcast. Leave your comments down below. We love reading them. No matter which way you swing, we love those comments.
I always love an attack on Aziz's character.
Yeah, these ones are funny. I chuckle at them a lot.
There's often an attack. I got a bunch of attacks in the last one, and I'll embrace it. That's fine. It's all opinion, guys. But yeah, thanks for listening, and guys, farewell. I'll see you when the next Jurassic's out. See you at the next world premiere. Ridiculous.